so I'm going to go through this test kit, look through all the instructions, make sure I know what I'm doing and have everything I need, and can figure out when I can actually do the test and get it ready to send in. Simple. Just have to collect a morning urine sample first thing before eating or drinking anything, freeze it. It's fun to be collecting things and storing them in the freezer, and then ship it out on Monday or Tuesday next week. It's about 5:15 on Monday morning. I am waiting for this blood draw person to arrive at my house to do this fasting, obviously early morning blood test, but very convenient that they will come to my house and do. Well, it's now 5:25 and it's all done. She came in, just had a little kit with all of her stuff in it, did the blood draw. She had all my test instructions that I think I had uploaded to their website when I signed up for this, and now she's already gone. So that was super convenient and very nice to have somebody just come to my house and be done with it. Hello, we are back. We have test results. We're going to talk a little bit about what those test results say. I've had a chance to talk with my doctors about them, kind of get a feel for if there's anything really important we need to address, and kind of come up with a plan for moving forward. So I just want to do a quick little recap of kind of how I got to where I am today. If you have been following along since the beginning, since before my jaw surgery or when I was getting ready for my jaw surgery, I've talked a little bit about a long history with chronic fatigue, sort of just chronic health issues that have been sort of mysterious and very hard to resolve, and been on kind of this long healing journey. I know that term can be kind of overused, but to me, I don't know how to better explain it because it really has felt like a journey. But the jaw surgery was really a part of that whole process because I've been doing so many things for so long, but I have been looking for anything that could possibly be contributing to chronic health issues. So when I found out that my bite or my airway might be compromised, or that my bite might be causing structural issues, which could also be contributing to pain, or just that these things could be getting worse over time. Obviously your teeth, your bite health, being able to eat properly, being able to breathe, having an open airway, all of those things are really important for overall health. And so jaw surgery was a part of this whole sort of grand adventure that I've been on, trying to find any little bits and pieces that could contribute to me healing or just having better overall health. So before jaw surgery, there were many years there where I've just been doing lots and lots of things to try to figure out what is the underlying root cause, why do I have chronic fatigue and hormone issues, and really what is sort of keeping me from being able to make better progress, because I have done a lot of things and changed a lot of my lifestyle or just incorporated a lot of healing protocols, but I've seen progress for sure, but it's just been very, very slow, and I still have a lot of daily fatigue. I still don't have a menstrual cycle, which has been over 10 years. There's just been a lot of ongoing things that haven't really improved, and so just continuing to look for whatever could be helpful, and that involves doing a lot of testing. I've obviously done a lot of testing in the past, and we sort of continue to repeat testing regularly to monitor kind of how my body is responding, where am I at, just as months go by or as we try different things. Is anything changing? Is anything I'm doing having a more significant effect? And more recently, with some of these tests that I've been doing, we've been just digging a little bit deeper, doing some additional testing, or trying to find some new things that we can look into to see if we might get any other clues to what is holding me back or what might help me continue to improve down the road. So one thing to note is that in the past, more than once, I have done heavy metals testing, and there are indications that I do have very high levels of lead and mercury in particular. And that has always been something that we have known is probably a big underlying cause of all of my symptoms. But heavy metals are also sort of difficult to get rid of. So this additional testing that we've been doing lately is, again, to kind of look at how are other areas being affected? Like, how might we support other functions of my body or areas that are struggling? So one of the tests that I've done more recently was like extensive genetic testing. And this basically confirms something we already kind of knew or assumed, which is that my detox pathways are pretty compromised for me. So I have certain genes that indicate that my detoxification pathways are going to be more compromised in the first place, which just means that I'm going to be more affected by things like environmental toxins or like things that might be coming in through my food. My body's going to have a harder time just getting rid of that stuff naturally, which kind of makes sense when you look at the heavy metals testing that I've done. Basically, I need to find ways that I can support my body's own detoxification systems because they are struggling. Everything is really connected, and this is where it can get a little bit complicated and sometimes overwhelming because it's like, where do you start? Like, what is the thing that is going to help make all the other things better? And sometimes it's just a really long process of trial and error. That's kind of what it's felt like for me. It's just like we have to try things, see if I respond, see if I feel any better, and just keep going one step at a time. So let's talk about the mold exposure testing. That was a urine test where I just do that test at home. I send it in, the lab sends the results to my practitioner, and then we talked about it. The first mold test that we did actually didn't really show anything, and this was kind of odd because you can see in the results, there's just sort of no indication of anything there. Normally you would expect to at least see some variation or maybe see something show up. Because that was so, there was so no result there, my doctor did suspect that it might just be that my body's, because my detoxification is not great, that I'm actually not releasing stuff enough for the test to pick up on it. So we did follow up that test with a blood test that you can also do for mold. On that blood test, there were a couple of specific mold types or mold toxins that were more in the mid-range or a little bit on the high level for me. But I think the overall picture was that mold toxicity is probably not a huge issue for me. Yes, there were a couple things that were on the higher end, but it wasn't like, oh my God, you have all this mold exposure, mold toxicity, and we need to really address that right now. So that, again, I think we're just sort of filing that away as information, but right now, it's not like a smoking gun or something that we're going to hardcore target at this point. The next test we did was some gut testing. So let's take a look at the gut health results here. So this test gives you a breakdown of 4 different areas: the beneficial species, the diversity of your microbiome, phylobalance, and the pathogenic species. For beneficial species, that was where I did not do so well. I had a 3 out of 10, which was a poor score, and you can see here many of these numbers are in the red zone or very, very low. The nice thing with this though is that I can go in and find a probiotic or something that has these specific strains that I am low on. Good news was that my pathogenic species was good overall, 9 out of 10, which means I have a low level of the quote unquote bad bacteria, or the correct amounts, because you don't necessarily want to have 0 of that, but you just don't want to have too much of any particular strain. So that was a good sign that there's not a bunch of pathogens in my gut. In terms of microorganisms, also breaks it down by different categories here, and can see there's sort of a range. Many of them are in the green, which is good, but those red ones are areas that I could do more specific work on. There were a couple of things in the like in the good bacteria section, where I am taking specific probiotics now that target that particular strain that was really, really low. So that can be like where this information can be really helpful. Then there was the blood work, and this was again a whole bunch of lab tests for some like metabolic panels, some hormone levels, stuff we have tested many, many times in the past, and we're just kind of keeping an eye on again. In general, again, like the things that have been high in the past, like my cholesterol has been sort of high for quite a while. Things like my IgE level, which is kind of like a marker of an immune response or kind of an allergic type of response, has been very high consistently for a while. These are all likely things that are symptoms of the deeper problem of things like the heavy metals having an impact on all my systems kind of down the line. Yes, we want to try to support those systems in any ways we can, but doing these tests isn't always just a means to like then target one specific thing and try to like fix a certain number. It's giving us more information, and then hopefully as I continue to just keep working on things over time, hopefully we'll start to see these numbers change in the right direction, not necessarily because I am trying to change that one specific number, but because everything is starting to function better, and then those, everything starts to even out on its own. So I guess that's just a really long-winded way of saying like, this is all good information and good data, but like, there's nothing extreme that I am going to be doing because of these test results. I'm going to really continue doing some of the things that I have been doing in terms of lifestyle factors, or, I do take quite a few supplements to try to support my body as much as I can, knowing that it's obviously struggling. I'm still fatigued. I still have these low hormones. I need to do what I can to kind of support everything, support all systems, so that I'm not sort of constantly depleting myself. But I think in general, what I have been learning throughout this whole process is that it is just going to be sort of a long road of just like a slow, steady approach of daily actions, daily habits, and being consistent with the protocols that I'm doing, which again, it can take a lot of trial and error. It can be really frustrating because I can feel like I'm doing all of these things every day and like not seeing that much change. But I think, again, I've kind of learned this lesson that like I have to just keep going and know that like from where I started 10 or 12 years ago, I am a lot better than I was then, even if I'm kind of like nowhere near where I would like to be. But it has just taken that long to kind of find things that actually work. And some of these things just take a really long time. And to go back to the jaw surgery again, like it might seem like, how does that have anything to do with these symptoms or with how I'm feeling? But I think of something like sleep as being so fundamental to overall health, and like knowing that having that jaw surgery really improved my airway, and I have noticed a difference in my sleep since then. I know that getting better sleep every night is going to factor into my long-term health and my body's ability to repair and recover and heal. So I do feel like something like the jaw surgery, even though it seems kind of like out of the scope or like not involved in this healing process, it does have an effect. So all of that to say, I've done all this testing. We have some good information. I have to just keep going one step at a time and keep trying to do the little things on a daily basis. No matter how long this takes, every day, every thing that I am doing that can help is a step in the right direction, and keep trying to see this as a learning process, as much as it can be a really frustrating and has been a really frustrating process for me to kind of go this long without getting to where I want to be or to feel like I'm really healing in the way that I want to. It has been really fascinating, really interesting. It has changed my life in a lot of ways, and I have no intention of doing anything other than just keep going and take it step by step and know that I will get better over time. All right, I have no idea if that was interesting to anybody, but I think as always for me, it's just kind of nice to like process out loud and to even kind of, I feel like it's nice for me to have documentation of this, because so much of what I have done in the past, I have sort of fuzzy memory on like all of the things that I have tried or sort of what the like trajectory has been. I wish I had more documentation of it all. I wish I had kind of like kept I've kept a lot of notes and stuff like that, but I wish I had kept more detailed like timeline of things that are going on. So I guess I hope this will be maybe interesting or helpful for somebody else out there that is going through some of these same things. Maybe you get some ideas of what can be useful for you, or to just know that someone else out there is going through the same thing. So thanks for watching. If you have gotten this far, thanks for the support and for following along. I am planning to do some videos about things like all of the supplements or protocols that I am doing, things that I have tried in the past, things that have worked or not worked, kind of like how I have managed these symptoms throughout the years. So if you're interested in any of that, I hope you will stick around and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon.